Alrighty, bros. What it is? What's up? Yeah, we're not feeling so bad this time after it. It's chemo, thank God, and we're gonna play some World Warship. I took me a nap. Don't get me wrong, dudes. I'm staying tired and stuff, but I mean, now honestly, it's nothing like I've been going through. So that's a plus. That's a big plus. Okay, let's just get some stuff set up here and we'll get going. Get get me a tea to sip on, and I think we're gonna play some. I think we'll play some browse. I don't think we have too much longer left on the browse. Yes, we still got another day, so yeah, let her. Let's see. Let's do the Alabama. We'll throw Halsey in it. Let's see. We need to change any skills. Nope. There we go. Been drinking a lot of tea, juice, trying to cut soda out so much. I use hard caffeine addict. Just trying to, you know, we can only do what we can do, but cutting soda'd have to be pretty good to cut it out so much, being, you know, um, a lot of caffeine like that can't be really good for you, you know. At least I wouldn't think it would be. I think that a lot of caffeine would. I know coffee is good about for sinuses and stuff like that, but and I do drink coffee still. I just don't drink it all day like I used to. I used to drink
Autopilot mode enabled.
5, 6 pots of coffee a day, man. I mean, really,
Battle starts.
that's just way too much. Okay, switch over.
Good luck and fair seas. Many thanks.
Spent all my code, so we need to save some. You know, and then we're going to
Awaiting
sea, right?
instructions.
So, I bought this Alabama on the Black Friday sale. It's a nice ship, man. I mean, it really is. It's better than I thought it'd be, too. Let's throw us a spotter up here.
Spotter airborne.
Let's see what we got turbos. All these spotters out, still nothing. It's got to be.
Torpedoes, dead ahead.
Airborne!
Torpedoes to port.
Way to get enough.
Awaiting instructions!
Spotter returning to ship.
Okay. We might have set that spot too early.
Enemy cruiser detected.
Autopilot mode disabled.
Get back, come on. Come on back, girl.
Ship is on fire. Problem solved, sir.
Confirmed penetration.
Bingo.
Good show. Thank you. Support the Allied target.
Well done, Commander.
Okay, well, I'm done okay, you know. Decent anyway, you know. Let's push on up through there, I think. Still got 4 hills. good for us. They're, I got the BD.
Our victory is in sight.
It's a bunch of torpedoes coming out over there. There he is.
Spotter returning to ship.
We're about to win anyways. Doesn't look good for a little DD, does it?
Good show. Let's give them a hard time.
Yeah, that was easy. Well, it wasn't easy. It was a good one, regardless. I love them good ones. I got like one more level to do on this battle pass. Let's go ahead and grab this container. I played a little earlier. Did okay, decent. Another super container. It's like my third one today. We get through 50, 50 flags. It's still good. So we need, I think we got, oh, we still got this one again. That'll be how many, 25 more. So we'll go over, we'll hit 19. So one more. Okay, let's see here. The North Carolina. Annihilator. Been working on that one a little bit. A little bit. Oh yeah, whatever you want to call it, it is spotter. This has got torpedoes as well. I remember where I was on this one. Clean this out. Give us 4 of that one. Put it in. Let's just play it like what we got right now. Been trying to save up captain's points in case I need to reset any. Yeah, I've been known to ram a few, you know. So secondaries, DAs, secondaries. Yeah, we'll just, yeah. Oh, I honestly don't remember. set flags up on that one. See. We're not going to change that one. I like that one, you know. I think the darker is the lighter looks better now. Yeah. Now let's see here. That's two in a row we've done one, so that's pretty good, you know. Two in a row is really good. Wait a minute, dudes. Let me. I ought to be a little chilly, but I'm gonna take a sweatshirt off. My hair's coming back, bros. Uh, it's a lot thicker than it ever was. I'm still just a little conscious about it because there's it. I'll eventually get to quit wearing this and stuff, but I am a little conscious still about my hair, but it's done better, you know. Things are finally looking better for me about my cancer. In all honesty, I took chemo yesterday. They put a thing on my arm to inject to help me about my white blood cells because they're destroyed. I was very sick over it. I had to miss about 2 weeks of chemo on account of it. I had to go 2 extra weeks before I could have my treatment. And I mean, doesn't sound like having to miss a lot, but trust me.
Autopilot mode enabled.
Battle starts.
They sent me back in March last year to get a scan done, and I did, and it was really good. Cancer in my left lung had shrunk significantly. Cancer in my liver at that time was just my liver and my lungs. And cancer in my liver, they can barely see it. On my way to remission, you know, but I don't ever get true remission, dudes. So I mean, and I've known this from the start, you know. Absolutely know this from the start. Know I know that I can, you know. So, but so my doctor decided that by then the chemo effects was really hard on me. I mean, so he decided he'd lower my chemo dose.
Enemy force sighted on
And
the horizon.
he did, and it was a little better on me, but I started
Enemy
hurting more.
battleship sighted.
And I mean, in all honesty, I started hurting a lot more, and they, I mean, it's just one of them things about it, and but then I got used to that dosage, but I was still hurting terribly, and so went from March March to December was about 9 months, was still taking that dosage of chemo, and for some reason we didn't send me and get any more scans, and I'm not blaming nobody on that deal. I mean, I'm not gonna lie about it. I don't, and
Torpedoes, dead ahead.
so
Torpedoes.
they sent me in December, got me some scans, and that sucker ain't even moving. But when they did,
Destination reached. Autopilot mode disabled.
we
Torpedoes, direct front.
I thought.
Torpedoes to starboard.
They'd always
Torpedoes,
tell me
direct
once
front.
I got so bored
Attention.
that
Reporting
we
the
got
target
in
position.
I could be put on
Torpedoes, dead ahead.
chemo drills.
The ship is on
rotor
fire.
drills, which is good.
Torpedoes, direct front.
And so I had that going and was looking forward to that. So when
The enemy
they
team has
did the
taken the lead.
scans, I went back in and they were.
Problem solved, sir.
That was during Christmas. And I was getting after Christmas. And then I did. So when I did
Enemy
in
battleship
January, I was
foundered.
shit, boy. Probably got the sun here. But then when I did get a seat,
Hold below the waterline. We're flooding quickly.
I got bad news. I thought he was joking, to be honest. Kind of. Wasn't the case, though, but not the case. We'd, wasn't the case.
The enemy team has
had,
taken the lead.
cancer in their left lung has doubled in size. Cancer, I had cancer in my right lung now as well. And cancer in my liver has doubled in size. So, and I done got terribly sick, really sick. Can't explain the pain, dudes. But end of the day, he kept
Battle
telling
ends
me
in
it was
5
going to
minutes.
happen and stuff. And when I ain't you about trying to be good, doesn't he, dude? I think I'm a dead man, ain't you? I'm a bad man. So, I'm gonna put you back up before those cameras we had to start with what we know was working. So that's what we did. And I took a dose in February, no, in last of January, and I didn't even think I was going to get to take one in February because of the, but I did. I did just a few days ago. Uh, uh, I had to go about 5 weeks before I could take it again because my white blood cells was destroyed. Uh, Vomiting uncontrollably, trouble breathing, just really bad. Didn't look real good. So I went last week, not this, but the last one to take. They'd scheduled me to take one. I went. I couldn't take it. My blood count come back terrible again, and uh, they've switched up some meds on me. My blood pressure is out off the chart, but I need the meds that they give me, so we're having to change my, my blood pressure medicine to compensate for it. So I felt real bad and sick. That's why you guys haven't seen me that much lately, and I'm sorry about that, but I mean, that's just one of those deals that can't control, dudes. No, it is what it is. So, but I gotta go Friday and take my chemo yesterday, and they put this little port on me to inject medicine for my white blood cells. And so far, uh, they put it on me after I took my chemo. They put it on me, and it goes ahead and shoots a needle in you, and then puts a tube in you to inject the medicine. But it does it over 2 days. So I had to wear that till 5 o'clock Saturday evening, and then it went to click and pumped it out, the rest in me, and then beeped, and I could take it off. And surprisingly, I mean, just the initial putting it on hurt, but after that, it was okay. But now I have to start wearing those every time after chemo because my immune system's not coming back. And well, I have to have these dosages because of what happened. So, and like when I took the full dose 5 weeks ago, I was terribly sick. I couldn't get out of bed for about 2 weeks. So to feel as good as I do now, I don't, not the best, tired, I'm hurt, but it's not like I was. And I just feel blessed that we're getting this back under control. Because at the end of the day, uh, there's no cure for me. So if this stuff doesn't work for me,
Action
they can't
stations.
keep me into a plan that I can keep taking the chemo and stuff. I've done made the decision I will not take clinical trials. So when this stops, that'll be the end for me.
Awaiting instructions.
I'm not going to take clinical trials. Not that I don't feel I'm better than anybody or anything of that. It's at that point I'm going to die, and it's not giving up. It's refusing to be a guinea pig. I'm not going to be nobody's guinea pig, man. I mean, I'd like the idea of helping towards science and stuff. I really would. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be nobody's guinea pig to
Enemy force
uh,
detected.
to suffer. And at that point, it's what we do know it works wouldn't be working. So why torture yourself like that? For it just doesn't wouldn't just honestly it just wouldn't make sense to do it. So that's how I feel about it. I don't feel it's giving up. I don't think that it's suicide at that point. I mean, at that point, it just saying, being honest, I've suffered enough. So why even, why even keep doing it? You know, the suffering part of it. There has to be a point in time that you, well, that's not my case. It's not the case, period, about it. And I feel that it was a setback, and I've not lingered on it or felt, well, they messed up. Now I'm going to die. Still, you know, I'll fight it to the very end, but I will not take clinical trials. I mean, I won't. you don't live long once you get on clinical trials. Dudes. I mean, you even know for sure what they're really giving you, dudes. I mean, you don't. They don't. That's why they call it clinical trials. Yeah, they'll pay you and stuff while they do it, but I mean, in a way, it is a good thing, but I don't know. So it takes something very big to change my mind about it. To not lie, it really would. It takes
Spotter
something
airborne.
very big to change my mind about it. Because
We've spotted an enemy submarine. Airborne.
Torpedoes to starboard.
it's gonna get us.
Torpedoes direct front. Torpedoes direct front. Our team has taken the lead.
Got him
Battle
loaded
ends
up
in
over
5
here.
minutes.
He's good.
Torpedoes dead ahead.
I mean, that's just how I feel about it, bro.
Torpedoes dead ahead.
Like I said, end of the day,
Spotter returning to ship. Torpedoes direct front. Your allies. Hull breach. We're taking on water quickly. Torpedoes dead ahead. Torpedoes to starboard. Torpedoes direct front. Torpedoes to starboard. Torpedoes to starboard. Problem solved, sir. Torpedoes to starboard. Torpedoes direct front. We're hull below the waterline. We're flooding quickly.
Our team depends upon you.
We're screwed. Those ain't good.
Torpedoes to starboard. We're hull below the waterline. We're flooding quickly.
Yeah,
Torpedoes dead
we'll
ahead.
lose.
Torpedoes to starboard.
Come on, you little bitch. That little annoying ass submarine, man. Yeah, well, goddamn things. So we got 5,000 still in 5 boxes. Yeah, that's pretty good. This one resets 2 hours. So that's 2 hours on that one. So we're about to get gone there. We got the ship. This thing here. just a terrorist fix. What's this thing? Oh, yeah, I guess that. Let's play for Bez, Mark. Bez quick's always good. So it's 5 containers. Just open all 5. Ship X feed. Member points. Pretty expensive. It's fun. It's a fun ship. It's real fun ship.
General quarters.
Go. Spread now.
Awaiting instructions.
Let's go to sea.
Autopilot mode enabled.
Good luck and fair seas. Good luck and fair seas. Thank you. Enemy force detected.
Terms.
Enemy battleship sighted.
Autopilot mode disabled.
on fire! Problem solved, sir. Torpedoes to port. Spotter airborne.
Cruiser detected.
Yeah, what about that? Yeah.
Main turret critically damaged. Problem solved, sir. Ship is on fire.
That's not the way. Yeah, that's too much, huh?
Spotter destroyed.
Well, that's about what I figured would happen. What much can you really say, man? I mean, Zelensky gets horrific news after White House fiasco. It's but he's awful arrogant, considering what he's pulled.
Then you try the stainless.
Really.
Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and it did not take long after the fiasco at the White House for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to get some horrific news. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, please check that address in the lower right-hand corner. It's youtube.com/@explainamerica. When you get there, please hit subscribe absolutely free. It really helps us out. Volodymyr Zelensky made a tragic mistake yesterday at the White House when he attempted to go toe-to-toe with President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. A lot of people have asked the question, what exactly did he do that set J.D. Vance and President Trump off? If you watch the video, the vice president is answering a question. And when he answers the question, Zelensky says to him, JD, which is disrespectful right away because it's Mr. Vice President.
Right.
But he says, JD, let me ask you a question. And then he starts litigating the case for more financial aid, for more U.S. involvement. He starts litigating that case, something that would be done in a private negotiation. He does it publicly. This sets J.D. Vance off because the vice president knows that this is Zelensky's stock in trade. This is what he does. He litigates, he negotiates in front of the press to tug at the heartstrings of the American citizens so that we give him more money and more weapons. It's been a time-tested tactic by him. He's done it all over Europe. He's done it in the United States. And Vance, Trump, they weren't having any more of it. Well, moments after he left the White House, he was kicked out of the White House. Let me point that out. Kicked out.
Yeah, they kicked him out.
And this reporter found out from Fox News that they literally and figuratively ate his lunch. I want you to watch this video and let me know what you think in the comments.
Yeah, I just went up to the press area to get an understanding of what we're watching. This is what I was told. The president has kicked Zelensky out of the White House. His delegation right now is telling him that he's got to go home. The president felt disrespected. Officials in the room felt that beyond the language barrier that we've heard some discussion about, Zelensky's body language, shrugging and eye-rolling, was ungrateful, disrespectful, and the president feels that Zelensky is not ready for peace, and he can come back when he's ready to talk about peace, but he's not in that position right now, and Zelensky is being told he's got to go. The lunch that they were supposed to have is sitting right outside the hallway, and the press staffers are going to be eating that lunch. This is really pretty incredible. We see the SUV,
hang on with us one
Zelensky's
moment.
SUV.
If you look to your left, you're going to see him. Let's watch.
Mr. President, is the deal off? President Zelensky, can you tell us what happened? Donald Trump
on juurilla valkoiselta talolta sai tietää, että mineraalissopimuksen allekirjoittaminen peruttiin kokonaan ja Zelenski juuri astui autoonsa sanatoimittaja.
Did you sign the minerals deal? Did you sign the minerals deal?
Why were you so disrespectful to the president?
We may be watching the floor fall through this moment in international relations and diplomacy, or this might be the art of the deal, and we're not going to know for some time. Jackie, it appears that even going into this meeting that this relationship was not great. About a week ago, President Trump called Zelensky a dictator. He was asked about that yesterday with the British Prime Minister, and he said, "Did I say that?" Next question. As if he wanted to brush that off and make sure that things today went smoother.
Well, Zelensky, we're told, was begging to stay and work this out. The Ukrainians were begging the president and the White House to continue talking. The president's having none of it. He felt that Zelensky's just not ready for peace, and this deal was not signed. There is no signing. There will be no joint press conference. The next time we're going to see the president is at departure. There he goes right behind me. Zelensky on his way out of the White House gate. No deal signed, no joint press conference, tensions at an all-time high between these two leaders. Really, the prospect of peace talks, what this means for the war that has raged on for 3 years, you cannot overstate what a moment in time we've just witnessed. And while the president left the invitation open to come back when you're ready to talk seriously about what it takes to achieve peace, Zelensky feels very dug in. He was dismissive of the U.S. overtures that you've got to accept a ceasefire first. You've got to deal with the other side. The divide between the two two could not be wider. And so we expect to see the president at departure, Marine One departure later on this afternoon when he heads to Mar-a-Lago for the weekend. But that is the only other time we're going to hear directly from him. And I guess we'll hear from Zelensky on special report tonight. But that is going to be must-watch TV after what we have witnessed here today.
I watched special reporter Brett Burr. I mean, he refused to apologize. I mean, he really, Zelensky really doubled down there, man. That's very rude, very, very rude what he. I thought he's very disrespectful to President Trump and to Vice President J.D. Vance. That's you're
Hey, so the other day I saw this video by this for you. So I just
We have a Fox News alert. President Trump is speaking to reporters right now, saying Zelensky overplayed his hand and that Ukrainian president wants to fight, fight, fight. We will bring you that video when we have it. Meanwhile, the media had a field day today. Watch this.
Never in the history of modern diplomacy, war, peace, whatever, have I ever seen anything like this.
This was a tragedy. This doesn't make the American people better off tomorrow.
This is a catastrophe.
The president of the United States is a coward who is Vladimir Putin's puppet.
It seemed as though, Vladimir Putin's work was being done for him.
Trump become a lapdog for a brutal dictator in Moscow.
The propaganda is what's coming out of J.D. Vance's mouth, and it's Russian propaganda.
Which side of this war is Donald Trump on?
Putin and his cronies are probably popping champagne bottles right now.
So, Sandra, it's kind of odd considering what we've been through over the last couple of years, but given what we saw today, do you think it's the best strategy for Democrats to go back to the playbook of, oh, Trump is a Putin stooge?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. And the fact that the American public was able to see every bit of this happening in the Oval Office, they'll be able to decide for themselves. And so it behooved the press to cover this fairly and from all sides. Just looking at some of what we're hearing from President Trump as he is departing. And remember, we're going to hear from Zelensky a short time from now in that sit down with Brett. It sounds like Trump is making sure that his intentions are known. Some of what we are hearing is what you would expect. We are looking for peace, not a 10-year war. He says Zelensky wants to fight, fight, fight. I think that's what people saw him doing in the Oval Office. Trump says the U.S. is not looking to play games. Clearly, when you see that exchange with the President of the United States, he sat down for a deal. He did not come to play games. So the fact that this so publicly played out on the global stage, there are going to be strong opinions on what this means for world leaders to have seen this play out, but certainly for the American public to see this play out and then see the reaction from the media. What if this meeting had taken place and just simply a statement came out, or we learned that Zelensky got kicked out? You can only imagine the speculation, but people saw exactly what happened there and they can decide for themselves.
Yeah, I think the diplomatic words are frank. They had a frank discussion. That's all we would have gotten out of it. So, Jesse, one of the things that I love about this is that beforehand, Zelensky met with a bunch of members of Congress to prep for the meeting. What do you think those phone calls were like when he walked out of the meeting and he called those guys back and he's like, so how did I do?
He used to have to get prepped by Biden officials before getting on the phone with Joe, because he'd get on the phone with Joe and make endless demands and never say thank you. And it drove Joe crazy. And the same thing is happening here. I have a lot of respect for Zelensky. He's a brave guy. His people are brave, but he's got no leverage anymore. The only leverage he has are minerals, and he doesn't even know how to use that leverage. He'll never be a NATO member. It's not in our interest for him to be a NATO member. And the fact that he was arguing with the president of the United States and the vice president in front of cameras in the Oval Office showed so much disrespect. And he's like a freshman out there when you think about it. He doesn't really know what's happening. This war just hit him in the face, and he's trying to survive. The things the Democrats are saying, Putin puppet, these things are just slogans. What is the Democrat strategy to win the war or end the war? They don't have one, because the Democrat strategy is to make this an endless proxy war that goes on forever, an unwinnable proxy war, World War I trench warfare style, where the Russians gain a half a mile a week and they just run out of ammunition. That's unsustainable. What is the national interest in fighting an unwinnable, endless proxy war, which is the Democrat strategy? No one's ever explained it. I can see the U.S. interest in ending the war. We get mineral rights, energy and commodity prices go down. We could maybe add to our munitions, which have been spent over the last 3 years. You peel Russia away from China a little bit. I could go on and on. But sometimes, as you and all know, you have to break up to make up. And these things happen. Deals get blown up and they get cobbled back together. I'm sure next week they'll sign something.
Jesse has a point. I mean, what is the Democrat strategy for just ending the war?
Well, you've heard from a lot more Democrats recently that they understand that there could be some concessions, that we're not going to get back to the pre-2014 lines. Even Zelensky has talked about him understanding that that might happen. And again, I'll repeat that he said, I will step down for being the leader of this country. His I think a 57% approval rating. People are pretty fond of him. We know that wartime presidents don't have elections. Just putting it out there. But he said, I'll do what I can to make a peace deal. But what they're signaling in this and what Zelensky is signaling with his attitude is something that the leader of the CDU won the German elections, Merz, who will become the next chancellor, was talking about, that Europe is on its own with Ukraine now, that they do not feel that they have a partner in the U.S. who's going to be protecting and supporting Ukraine or them going forward, and that Donald Trump has aligned himself more with Vladimir Putin than with the traditional Western world order, that the alliances in the post-World War II world are over, and that he likes Vladimir Putin better. I don't know. I understand you want to make a deal. And by the way, this deal doesn't seem like it had a lot for the Ukrainians. If what he wants is security.
Germany is Russia's biggest customer. All they do is buy energy from Russia. And they didn't give a lot of weaponry to the Ukrainians, not nearly as much as we did. The Germans sat this one out, same with the French. The British and the Americans did the heavy lifting.
As a percentage of GDP, we rank 17th in terms of how much we've given them. That
percentage, shermenage.
No,
it's a lot of money.
Yes, of course.
We're richer. It doesn't matter, Jessica. We armed them to the teeth, and they did a hell of a job stopping the Russia war machine. But now it's time to end the war.
It is not just Democrats that are critical of this. Noted Democrat Karl Rove was on earlier talking about it. John Bolton, I get he doesn't like Trump anymore, but this guy is a traditional conservative person who's saying that this is a huge nightmare for the future.
Lindsey Graham said kick him out. Lindsey Graham, who we all know, never saw a war he didn't want to fight, said, Zelensky, get out of town, you screwed the pooch.
Or a war that he wanted somebody else to fight. No, but the problem here is that this idea that somehow Trump likes Putin more than Zelensky is absurd to me. The idea of this minerals deal hooks the United States deeply into the interests of Ukraine. Emily, in terms of the Democrat strategy for messaging this, are they winning? Are they losing?
Well, I personally think they are not winning. And that they never are. Look, I'll say this. At the end of the day, what we are looking at is peace through strength. Earlier in the meeting, President Trump said that he is continuing to send arms. But as he quoted, he said, but not too much more aid would be forthcoming. We're not looking forward to it. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things. So respectfully as well to people like Christiane Amanpour, who says she's never seen anything like this. It's because she's never had the honor of being in the room behind closed doors without the press there when this is what diplomacy looks like, right? Taking out root canals and coming to agreements with different alignments and different values is not always pretty. And that's confirmed by Secretary Pompeo, who earlier on our network shared, look, he's seen this all the time. He's just never seen it before in front of the cameras. And for pundits who come on air and say they call President Trump a coward and a puppet, well, is that what Biden was then in October of 2022, who on his call with Zelensky, as the Wall Street Journal and CNN reported, yelled at him, told him he wasn't thanking him enough. He didn't feel gratitude. He was simply wanting to take more. Is that what they called Biden back then? At the end of the day, what we are seeing is a second-term president, President Trump, who is in the art of the deal negotiating what that looks like, which is not the World War II Axis allied nations. It's far more complicated than that, and it involves acquiescing in part to achieve mutually beneficial agreements. That means we don't simply ice out Russia and China, because obviously that's not doable anymore. The embeddedness of all of these countries, economically, intellectually, in so many property, in so many different ways, you cannot simply excise a tumor and think it's the end of the day. So in my opinion, for those in the Democrat Party who are crowing about what do they want, a long-term, an endless war? Do we want another Afghanistan? We left our blood and treasure there on the field. There are still French cranes in Iraq. So for me, this is the goal for peace. This is the objective and the end result to peace. And as President Trump said, I don't want an advantage. I want peace. And I wish the Democrat Party would listen to our commander in chief and know that this is what that looks like.
It is truly extraordinary to think about. Every single advancement Putin has made has been made under Democrat leadership. And now they're accusing Trump of being in bed with Putin.
I don't think for a moment Trump's in bed with Putin. I think Trump doesn't want to. Thank you, bro. Reaper Omen. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, sir. I hope you have a blessed day yourself, my friend. I was in the bathroom there. I'm sorry that I wasn't in here to comment straight off the bathroom, my friend. I mean, that stuff here that Zelensky is pulling, bros. I mean, no honesty, he don't. The cards ain't in his favor without the U.S. I mean, they're not, man. I mean, it's Lindsey Graham. I'm gonna play this one here. He was a firm.
Well, the aim is very clear.
Supporter in the Ukraine war with Zelensky, and he even spoke out about it.
It all boils down to the idea of some kind of security. Trump believes that that security comes simply through having American investment, having Wall Street invested in Ukraine with the raw earth minerals, that by itself, not only the people who are working there, but also the security apparatus that would surround that, is sufficient to deter the Russians. Zelensky believes that history tells him that's not the case. That's what the whole spat boiled down to. Let's take a quick look at a bit of it, basically where Trump is, pointing out his point of view.
No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out.
I don't either.
But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television.
And he was right about that. Great television.
It was great. All he had to do, Zelensky, to finalise this deal was wear a suit, show the respect to the Oval Office, to the White House, show up, have the negotiations behind closed doors, have a nice little meeting in front of the world's media, say some damning things about Putin, and shake hands and walk away with a massive
Well, there's something
win.
else he could have done.
But I tell you how badly he went.
Man in the world.
Almost immediately after, one of his biggest backers, one of the people who has fought hardest for more funding for Ukraine, has stood by Zelensky's side, has been a long-term friend of his, despite other than just the political support, is Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
And he immediately disowned him, which shocked me because I thought he would come out and say it was disappointing, but we've got work to do. Let's just have a look at what Lindsey Graham said immediately after.
What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top. So I think the relationship between Ukraine and America is important, vitally important. But when Zelensky do a deal with the United States, after what I saw, I don't know.
And he went on to say Zelensky would either have to step down or dramatically change his approach to try to salvage something here. So let's talk about what matters, because what matters is we want to end this war and we want to stop having Ukrainians die needlessly. And we want to have an advantageous deal for the Ukrainians who've suffered over 3 years.
And yet, James, all the Europeans are jumping in immediately. Starmer's there this morning with Zelensky. The King's going to be seeing Zelensky. So last week they were all courting Donald Trump. This week they're all rushing off to court Zelensky. What's
and you're right, that's the irony for Zelensky, is that Trump had just met with the French, he'd met with the British, he'd met with the Polish. So Trump was set up, having been sympathetic towards Europe. There was no need for Zelensky to now go in and poke the bear. And if you wanted to talk about the importance of security and all that Putin had done in breaking ceasefires, he could have talked straight to the media rather than taking the discussion to J.D. Vance and taking them on. And that's the other interesting thing about this. You've now got a White House that will not be pushed around. Could you imagine Kamala Harris rather than J.D. Vance? Could you imagine Biden and all world
just be
leaders?
writing checks.
Exactly. But now all world leaders are on notice. You go to the White House, you don't want to be foolish because they will not tolerate fools, which may be a reason why Anthony Albanese's not visited yet.
No, that's a great point, James. And it is a disgrace that Albanese has zero relationship with Trump. Not surprising, but still a disgrace.
Maybe it's this.
Penny Wong, and I mean, we are just so on the nose with the modern American world, the new Pax Americana, if you like, the new world of Donald Trump. We are just nowhere to be seen. I hope all that changes when Peter Dutton wins the election, which he's going to do in a few weeks' time.
But this also goes to that speech, that groundbreaking speech we've spoken about on this program so much, that J.D. Vance gave in Europe.
Yes.
There is a political realignment. Again, many political analysts may not like it. It doesn't matter if you don't like it. This is the reality. America is now an America First approach. They do not want to support endless wars overseas. They do not want to have values that are in line with the European elite. They're not for open borders. They're not for green climate madness. They're not for all the cultural stuff,
European
as well as
socialism.
the New Age European socialism. There is a divorce happening there, and again, this is something the American people voted for. Whether you like it or not is immaterial, and the polling on this has been very clear. It's not just
And it's
the
not
Trump
really
election.
all that surprising, James, if you consider that in Europe they'd gone down the route of net zero, which is basically just socialism, climate change. They've deindustrialised the great industrial nations of Europe, Germany and France and others. They've deindustrialised themselves. They're reliant on the US for military support and cash. They're reliant on the Russians for energy. They're socialists. They've got open borders that are destroying their welfare states. The complete antithesis to every single Donald Trump policy. No wonder Donald Trump looks at them with absolute horror and I think this is what the message from the White House yesterday was, Europe, you're on your own. Take it away. Your problem. You either do it the American way or we're out and you can sort this mess out.
That was JD's message, wasn't it? Why would we spend billions of dollars supporting people who don't share our values? And again, I go back to Anthony Albanese. He's got a problem because his values don't exactly align with the Trump administration. And Anthony Albanese does not want to be embarrassed on the world stage. He ought to tread very carefully, I think.
Well, in direct opposition to Trump, I would say, everything that Albanese stands for.
If feet are numb and the sensation won't go away, do this 30-second biblical ritual to relieve nerve pain. Christians.
I mean, that's what makes you sick. Pam Bondi releases some F-15 files today. Oh, yeah.
The overall goal here with the DOGE team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain as a country a $2 trillion deficit. We spend a lot on the Defense Department, but we're spending like over $1 trillion on interest. If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt.
We're cutting down government. We're cutting down the size of government. We have to. We're bloated. We're sloppy. We have a lot of people that aren't doing their job. We want to have a balanced budget within a reasonably short period of time, meaning maybe by next year or the year after, but maybe even sooner than that.
President Trump and Elon Musk focusing on cutting government waste at yesterday's cabinet meeting, the first cabinet meeting with the full cabinet. Congress now considering how to pay for the agenda included in the House budget resolution. Some senators concerned about potential Medicaid cuts, while others think the House did not go far enough on cutting spending. Some are also worried about the $4.5 trillion for the tax cuts, and they will not be enough. That will not be enough to make the 2017 tax cuts permanent and pay for other priorities such as no tax on tips or overtime. House Speaker Mike Johnson talked about it last night on Hannity.
It's going to end in success. We are going to accomplish this mission. If we fail in this mission, everyone will see the largest tax increase in U.S. history at the end of this year when the Trump-era tax cuts expire. We have to extend them. There's been a little disagreement about the best way to get there, but I think we're going to come up with a product that is a framework that both chambers can work under.
Joining me now is Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. What happens now? Will you now follow the one track in the Senate?
The Senate is going to continue to work through the process, Maria, to make certain that we maximize the cuts to the federal government and the savings to the U.S. taxpayer. And President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and the cabinet are doing a great job working with us. And what we will do is take all of those cuts, we will exercise some rescissions, and that makes way for what we want to do with permanence on the 2017 tax cuts, and also addressing no tax on tips, Social Security, overtime, and those things that the president has brought forward in his campaign and the American people voted for. They gave him a mandate. It is up to us to deliver. We will deliver on this.
And I know that you agree with some of the things that Elon Musk said. I mean, the Committee for a Responsible Budget out with a report saying 2025 fiscal situation is much worse than when Trump was president in 2017. The budget and economic situation was very different at the start of the first Trump administration when the tax cuts were first passed. Debt was 75% of GDP in 2017. Today, it's near 100% of GDP. Interest payments were 1.6% of GDP. Today, they're 3.2%. Deficit, 3.8% of GDP. Today, they're 6.2%. How did that happen in just 8 years?
And it happened because of the COVID era spending, and then Biden just kept shoveling money out the door to all of these NGOs and these different projects. And you see how they were talking about tossing gold bars as they were exiting the administration. And you look at the debt that they piled up, the deficit every year that they piled on top of the COVID era spending. So there are many of us that think, let's go back to that pre-COVID era and let's actually cut into that baseline and save the taxpayer. They're working hard for this money. They're sending it in. We're to be stewards of that money, and it is up to us to pass and support President Donald Trump's agenda.
Senator, you sent a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel demanding the full release of the unredacted Jeffrey Epstein records. Attorney General Pam Bondi revealed some of the Epstein files will be released today. Here's what she said. Watch.
This will make you sick. 200 victims. 200. So we have over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. What you're going to see hopefully tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did.
Senator, you said you're going to release what you know. What can you tell us?
Yes, indeed, and I've been so pleased that AG Bondi and Director Patel have worked with me on this. As she said, we have to make certain that these victims, and it is over 250, that their names are redacted, they are protected. And Maria, this is going to be a phase 1 release in short order. I will have the hard copy in my hand. AG Bondi is responsible for what will be the public release on this. She has worked diligently on this, and so appreciative that we can begin to get this information, that we can begin to break apart what became a global human trafficking, sex trafficking ring, about $150 billion a year business. It is time to get some justice for these victims, for these women and children, and this will be a phase 1 release. There will be more to come.
That is unbelievable. I mean, we talk about all the sex trafficking and drug trafficking by dangerous drug cartels, and meanwhile, we've got this under our noses with some elites involved. That's why we all want to know what's happening here. This morning, we're with California Republican Party Chairwoman Jessica Milan Patterson. Go ahead, Jessica, jump in.
Hey, Senator, thanks for being with us. Can you talk a little bit about the transparency and the quickness for the Trump administration to move on these files that we've been asking for years now?
Yes, indeed. And Jessica, what we know is that there is a file the FBI has that is related to the trial. We know that there are IRS records, and we know that there is video footage from the Palm Beach residence. And over the last couple of years, I've been stymied, as you know, by Christopher Wray and the FBI, and they did not want to give this information forward. I tried to subpoena it in a Judiciary Committee. I was the top Republican on the Human Rights Subcommittee. In that capacity, I worked on this issue for the past couple of years, and when I chose to bring forward my subpoena, all of a sudden, Chairman Durbin decided we were going to adjourn the committee, and we issued no subpoenas.
Wow.
And there has been that attempt to hide this, and I will say this, you know, people are curious about the list. To me, this is not about celebrity. This is about breaking apart a global human trafficking, sex trafficking ring that has cost the lives and endangered the lives of untold individuals. And bringing this forward, being able to break it apart and to shut it down, to hold these people to account for what they have done to these girls and these boys and these women, we have to get to the bottom of this. This is modern day slavery. It has to stop. I said I would not relent. I did not. We will start making this information public. I am grateful to AG Bondi and Director Patel for their tenacious work.
Senator, let me move on and get your take on this bill. You're proposing a bipartisan bill to boost U.S.-Taiwan travel. Tell us why.
Yes, indeed. And Maria, as you know, we have issues with China and the Chinese Communist Party. And one of the ways we can fight back against what they're doing is to encourage our businesses and our citizens. If you're looking at the Indo-Pacific, remember Taiwan. They are an ally. They consider themselves an independent country. They have a president, a cabinet, a military. And we should be there to support them and to support their fight against the Chinese Communist Party.
Well, I mean, I know that when an official delegation went to Taiwan, Michael McCall was the chairman of Foreign Affairs at the time.
Right.
China flew planes and ships and sort of surrounded the island. I mean, should ordinary individuals, ordinary citizens feel safe going to Taiwan if you've got all of that China harassment?
They should feel safe going to Taiwan. And yes, indeed, when there are those of us that have gone into Taiwan, then China tries to beat their chest a little bit and get out there with what they think would be an intimidating show of force. But what we also know is that it bolsters Taiwan and their push for their independence to be recognized when we, in turn, recognize them.
Okay, we'll leave it there. We'll be watching your work, Senator. Great to have you this morning. Thank you.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Senator Marsha Blackburn.
Enemy cruiser sunk.
Hi, I'm Kate Courtley, and I'm here to welcome you to the Buy One, Get One solar generator event. And we're glad to have you. I've been in several life-threatening situations, and I can promise you that you can't afford to have faulty equipment when you need it most, which is why I rely on 4Patriot Survival products and why I've partnered with them for the past several years. I use 4Patriot.
Joining me now is Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, chair of the House Judiciary Committee. I would love to see this attitude brought into any place in the private sector. And by the way, these people are not getting paid minimum salary. We're talking about the average federal worker's annual salary and benefits is $144,000, and they're objecting to being asked just 5 little things that they may have done last week. Are you kidding me?
How dare the President of the United States tell people to come back and work in person and tell us what you do? I mean, that's all this is. And yet, oh my goodness, you would think this is something that you can never do. How dare they ask that? This is how out of touch. I think you had someone on order. This is how out of touch this town is with the common sense of regular Americans across this great country. And when I talk with folks, they're fired up about. They like what President Trump and Elon Musk are doing. They like the fact that there's a focus on you work for the taxpayer. And if you're not working for the taxpayer, if you're not showing up to work, if you think you can work remote and not tell us what you do all week, that's not going to fly any longer. God bless these guys for doing what they're doing.
You know, and again, in the private sector, I was just talking to Martha McCallum about it. In the private sector, you ask somebody what they're doing. A boss comes by, asks, an employee would love to tell you all that he's doing. He loves to be a little, not just for bragging rights, but to get a pat on the back, to be appreciated. In the bureaucracy, it's not about what you do. It's how you can avoid doing anything at all. I mean, that is the nature. I understand. I'm going to get letters from all these federal employees saying what we do is so important. I understand there are people who really do work their heart, but there are a lot of people who don't. Sure. And if they can't name 5 damn things that they do for us from little things from last week, I don't think they should be here. Do you?
You can name 5 things you've done today. I mean, I met with a member of the European Parliament today. I met with our personal staff. What's going on in our district? I met with our committee staff. We got 4 hearings this week. I mean, you just got done with a meeting with the chairman, Republican chairman in the House of Representatives. You can go through. There's all these kind of things that you're involved in. You can't name what you're doing. Right. Maybe it's because you're not doing much and not really serving the taxpayers like you're supposed to.
Well, whether they like it or not, Elon Musk and Doge are saving taxpayers billions of dollars already, and they're going to continue to do so. We're going to talk about the court battles to stop them from doing that in a moment. But there are certain people, you know, there's this idea that if he gets the $2 trillion in savings, we should cut a $5,000 check to every taxpayer in the United States, which seems, at first I was kind of wobbling about maybe it should go to pay down to debt, but no. Americans deserve to get payback right now. That's what they need. They want $5,000. But here's what, and I'm sure you've seen this
it's
clip.
Their money.
I want to just play
it's
a clip.
Their money.
Congresswoman Crockett came out with one of the most outrageous things I've ever seen. I'm going to play that and get your reaction. Roll it.
We are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you if you are unable to find a job, because I am telling people we are headed towards a recession.
First of all, it ain't your money,
Yes,
Congresswoman.
exactly.
It's our money, and we should be able to decide how it goes to good use. And frankly, it would be a lot of good use in people's pockets. Secondly, it just shows, like you said, how out of touch they were. $5,000 is a lot of dollars to the average American. Maybe not to somebody who's making her salary and benefits and perhaps trading stocks on the side, but for the average American, it's a lot of money. Go ahead.
No, I think you're exactly right. The money belongs to the people, the families of this great country. It's their money. It's not the government's money. That's the biggest difference between conservatives and the left is the left thinks government has all the control. The bureaucrats should run everything, not the elected people, and we control the money. It's our money. No. It belongs to the families and the taxpayers of this great country. And if we can give it back to them, I'm for doing both. If we achieve this savings that we're setting out to do, $2 trillion as Elon has talked about as a target, give some of it back to the people, it's their money, and then we do have this deficit problem we run every year and this huge debt that's piling up. Let's use some of it for that. But certainly give some money back to the American people. After all, it's their money.
Now, Congressman, all of these lawsuits, I tell you, they look for all the world to me like the lawfare that we saw in months and years past against Donald Trump and other efforts by the American people to get what they want, to get what they voted for. Is that the way it looks like to you? Because it looks like lawfare to me and a lot of other people.
No, this is the left. I mean, I say the left and the Democrats, instead of helping us stop the stupid spending that's going on that Elon Musk has shown, they go after the guy who's exposing the stupid spending. I think we should work on just stopping the stupid spending. So no, they want it to continue. Most of the left, lives off of big government, whether it's some organization getting a grant from them or whether it's just the bureaucracy itself. So they're going to oppose this. I say applaud the guy who's exposing the stupid spending. They say, the left says, no, we're going to attack the guy exposing all the crazy things their monies are going to. That's the problem. But we have to stand strong and help make sure this happens. What he's identified, we have to make sure that no longer happens as we move forward in the appropriations process.
One of the arguments, and we hear it echoed in the media echo chamber by a lot of media elites, is that Elon Musk has not been, first of all, he doesn't have to be confirmed, but he's an outsider, and outsiders shouldn't be allowed to do the work that he's doing, gain access to the files, to the money trails, et cetera. The last president was essentially run by senior advisors who were never confirmed and never voted on. Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, it's terribly hypocritical to suggest that, but I don't think that's going to hold any water with the Supreme Court. Do you?
No, I mean, look, this is, again, is a fundamental difference. President Trump put his name on a ballot when he ran for the position of President of the United States to head the executive branch. Article 2, Section 1, first sentence, power in the executive branch is vested in a president. He put his name on the ballot. He got elected. During the campaign, he said he was going to create this DOGE department. Elon Musk was going to run it. It was clear what was going to happen. And we, the people, 77 million of us, said we want that model. It's consistent with Article 2 of our Constitution. And now that he's implementing it, the people on the left who think Dr. Fauci and all the unelected people are smarter than the rest of us, that they should have the power, which is not according to the Constitution, they're all mad. That's the fundamental fight. I'm actually with the guy, we the people, put in charge, not with the bureaucrats who think they're smarter than David Asman and Jim Jordan and all your viewers. That is BS. So that is the fundamental fight, and we have got to win this if we're going to protect freedom and liberty moving forward.
Right on. I agree with you on that. Let me quickly talk about the Senate bill that they're coming on their own with, and frankly, that you guys in the House are doing what the president wants. One big beautiful bill. Putting that together, which includes the tax extensions. And again, if they are not extended before the December 31st of this year, we will have one of the biggest tax increases in history, which means you guys will lose control of the House, the senators will lose control of the Senate, and the president will be a lame duck for his last 2 years. So you don't want that to happen. Senator Johnson came out with an idea, because their bill, the Senate bill, is all about spending. It's not about tax decreases. It's not about keeping taxes low. It's about spending more money. Here's what Senator Johnson said about what the Senate should be doing. Listen.
Did you know the entire value of your IRA could go to taxes? Hey, I'm Casey Weed, CEO and founder here at Howard Bailey Fund.
I'd be happy to just extend the current tax code to make sure we take a massive automatic tax increase off the table, and then start working on what is far more complex. No tax on tips, those types of things. That's just a far more complex package put together.
So why doesn't the Senate at least do that? Just extend the current tax code that way, and maybe later on you can put in what the president wants to add in, the no tax for tips, all the other things. But just make sure that the deadline doesn't pass and we get this huge tax increase.
No, look, I'm for one bill, two bills, three bills, whatever. I'm for what Senator Johnson is a smart guy, good friend, and I think an outstanding senator. If that concept and that plan works, I'm for that too. I'm just for getting, doing what we told the voters we were going to do, doing what they elected us to do. What I do know is what the budget resolution that's coming out of the House Budget Committee and slated to be voted on tomorrow. It cuts taxes, it cuts spending, it helps national defense, and it secures the border. Sounds like we're being Republican.
Looks pretty interesting.
This subcommittee will come to order without objection. The chair is authorized to declare a recess at any time. We welcome everyone to today's hearing on ending the weaponization of the Justice Department. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from the great state of Alabama who is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we will remain standing for a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Without objection, Mr. Hunt of Texas will be permitted to participate in today's hearing for the purpose of questioning the witnesses, if a member yields time to him for that purpose. I will now recognize myself for an opening statement. Welcome, everyone, to the first hearing of the Subcommittee on Oversight. Today, we are here to shine a light on something that should be deeply concerning to every single American: how our justice system was allowed to become weaponized against political opponents. Early in his presidency, Joe Biden told the nation, "It's not my Justice Department, it's the Justice Department." Former Attorney General Merrick Garland promised the same thing. That was their promise. We now know it was a lie. For the past 4 years, it was not the People's Justice Department. It was a political weapon used to go after anybody the Biden-Harris administration felt needed to be attacked. Let me lay it out clearly, case after case, so there's no confusion on what happened. Let's start in the great state of New York. Alvin Bragg ran for Manhattan DA, focused on only one thing: targeting Donald Trump instead of cleaning up the many problems facing New York City. After years of searching, he revived a dismissed case with the help of former DOJ officials and used a shaky legal theory to turn misdemeanors into felonies. And it wasn't just Bragg. New York's Attorney General Letitia James also made it her mission to go after President Trump. She campaigned on it. Prosecutors, attorney generals, they shouldn't campaign on politics. They should campaign on justice. She campaigned on it, and she promised voters she'd, quote, exact quote, get Trump. Before even seeing a shred of evidence. And sure enough, once in office, she followed through, twisting civil statutes into weapons for political gain, targeting not just Trump, but his entire family business. In Fulton County, Georgia, Fani Willis also campaigned on prosecuting President Trump. She coordinated with the partisan January 6th committee and the Biden White House from Georgia and hired her romantic partner as the lead prosecutor. Couldn't make this stuff up. I guess office romances can sometimes take you places. For Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, it was tropical destinations. It was luxury hotels, all on the taxpayers' dime. And while they were busy enjoying the perks, the cases they were building against Trump were falling apart under the weight of conflicts and impropriety, because it was pure political lawfare. I want to just note, no one should run for DA AG, or any legal office. Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, nobody should do this with the sole goal of going after one political figure. It's not what those jobs are about.
I haven't been able to take my eyes off my husband's pants since he tried this morning trick. What happened afterward was unbelievable. I thought it would be just another quickie, but my husband went hard on me for 2 straight hours after trying a simple secret mixture. It might sound strange, but your wife or girlfriend will thank you for watching this video. Go.
That's not justice. That's vengeance. Our legal system isn't supposed to be about personal grudges or political payback. It's about fairness. It's about impartiality. It's about the rule of law. That's supposed to be the standard in America. Unfortunately, under President Biden, that standard wasn't just abandoned at the state level, it was shattered. It was shattered at the federal level as well. Jack Smith was unconstitutionally appointed as special counsel. His lead counsel pressured a defense attorney with a judgeship offer to flip a client. So if the client flipped, he'd get a judgeship. Smith admitted to altering evidence in the Mar-a-Lago case, evidence tampering at the highest and most important level. Pure political lawfare. The FBI conducted an unprecedented raid on Mar-a-Lago, the home of a former president. They ignored standard protocol. They didn't wait for President Trump's lawyers to respond. They didn't use a local field office, and they bypassed all typical legal channels. Pure political lawfare. The FBI also targeted religious institutions. You couldn't make this up again. And parents. They labeled traditionalist Catholic as domestic terrorists, traditional Roman Catholics as domestic terrorists, and considered spying on their churches, on their priests, on their parishioners. Think about that. I really want everybody to think about it. Forget the politics for a minute. The FBI was planning to spy on grandmothers clutching their rosary beads in prayer, treating them as if they were a national security threat. If they can do this to Catholic churches, and this is the important part, what's stopping them from doing it in any place of worship, to Protestant churches, to Jewish synagogues, to Muslim mosques, or to Hindu temples? It was Catholic churches one day. It could be any of those another day. It could be you. If you think that sounds far-fetched, I want you to just take a look, if you get a chance, to what they did in my home state. In New Jersey, the FBI raided the largest Hindu temple in the Western Hemisphere, home to some of the most peaceful and spiritual people on the face of the earth, Hindus. Biden's FBI stormed the temple. He invaded private quarters, religious areas, and held guns. They held guns to the faces of swamis, holy men, some of whom were wearing nothing but their evening wear, their nightwear, their pajamas. These are individuals devoted to peace, nonviolence, and prayer, yet they were treated like dangerous criminals in an aggressive show of force. It's wrong. It's un-American. And it didn't stop at places of worship. The DOJ also turned its sight onto parents, moms and dads, grandparents who dared to speak up for their children at local school board meetings. Instead of seeing concerned citizens, the Biden administration saw potential domestic threats. They used counterterrorism resources to monitor and intimidate parents simply for voicing their concerns about what was happening to their own children in their own classrooms. The DOJ even weaponized the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrance Act, the FACE Act, to target pro-life advocates. This doesn't even matter if you're pro-life or pro-choice. Again, it could happen to anybody. Take Mark Houck, a peaceful pro-life activist and father of 7 kids. In a blatant show of force, the FBI sent a SWAT team to his home, raiding it, and a pre-dawn raid with guns drawn, terrifying his wife and his children. Whether it's people praying in churches or parents speaking out at school board meetings, the message from the DOJ, from Biden's DOJ, is clear. If you practice your First Amendment rights in ways they don't like, you will become a target. could happen to any one of us.
Ship is on fire.
This is pure political lawfare. The Justice Department slow-walked the investigation into Hunter Biden, allowing statutes of limitations to expire, tipping off defense lawyers about search warrants, and ultimately offering a sweetheart plea deal that nobody else would ever get. Meanwhile, the DOJ was slow-walking investigations that might make the president look bad. The full force of the DOJ was aimed at President Trump and any, even worse yet, people that didn't sign up for this, any of his allies. Just look at the timeline. After announcing his candidacy, President Trump was indicted 4 times, twice by partisan DAs and twice by an unconstitutionally appointed special counsel. I'm sure my Democratic colleagues will say that it was not coordinated, but it was. And I'll say it was pure political warfare. What I've laid out is just the framework of what the this Judiciary Committee uncovered last Congress. It was the work of this Judiciary Committee and our chairman, Jim Jordan, that did that. My colleagues, we will dig deeper into each case. I pledge to you that this committee, this subcommittee, is going to dig deep and dig hard and find out the real truth. And the reason is not because we want to rehash everything in that ugly past. The reason is we never, ever want it to happen again. It shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat or a liberal or conservative. It could happen to you. I want you to really think about it. It could happen to your church. It could happen to your mosque. It could happen to your synagogue. It could happen to your temple. It could happen to your school. It could happen to your cause, whether on the right or the left. It could happen to your beliefs. It's un-American. It's wrong. This should never happen again. Our justice system should be blind to politics, blind to personal beliefs, and focused solely on fairness and the law. Under Attorney General Pam Bondi's leadership, this administration, this Congress, and this subcommittee are working to restore integrity to the DOJ for everyone, all of us. We will ensure that never again will our justice system be used as a political weapon. I thank our witnesses, all of you, for being here today, and I look forward to your testimony. I now recognize the ranking member, Ms. Crocker.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. This is my first time serving as a ranking member.
If you're unsure or unaware of your eyeglass prescription, or if your prescription changes frequently due to...
And we are back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Y'all know what y'all did need. Y'all did a big one for your boy. Check it out. Over 100,000 subscribers. We hit the number yesterday at about, 5 p.m. So, shoot, we already at 101, y'all. Let's keep it rocking and rolling. I appreciate y'all. I just want to let you all know from the bottom of my heart, you make my little heart feel good. You warm my little heart. Y'all, thank you for watching again. Please go ahead and hit the like button. Today, we're going to be talking about your girl, Fani Willis. Yesterday, she suffered, I would say, a setback. I would say a big setback, actually, when Judge Shakura Ingram said, "Hey, Fani, you know those subpoenas that you're saying you don't, that the Senate can't subpoena you because it's outside of their power?" Judge Shakura Ingram, that's the Superior Court judge in Fulton County, she said, "No, they can subpoena you. You have to go and you have to testify." She's already ruled that. Fani came back, clapped back, and said, "No, Shakura, no." But Shakura came back again and said, "Yes."
A judge has denied Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis's efforts to evade subpoenas issued by Georgia state lawmakers. Willis has said that as an elected official, lawmakers don't have the power to subpoena her. They want to ask her questions about her investigation of election meddling on the part of President Trump and his allies during the 2020 election. She has until March 12th to refile with answers to the judge's questions.
So let's take a look at this real quick, and then we're going to get into so that's one side of it. That Fani's trying to avoid testifying in front of the Senate. Judge Ingram keeps saying yes. And then on the other side, we're going to take a look at Fani's Trump case. So let's take a look first at testifying under subpoena. Senator Greg Dolezal says, For months, Fani Willis fought our lawful subpoena to testify under oath to our investigations committee. Yesterday, the judge again agreed with us and denied Willis's motion to quash our subpoena. No one is above the law. We'll see you soon, Madam DA. He says that with a little bit of relish, I'm sure. So here is the order. Let's take a look at the final page. This is what Judge Ingram says. Moreover, this court agrees that regardless of whether the subpoenas are valid, the dispute at issue is capable of repetition, yet evading review. While the court is not unsympathetic to petitioner's argument that these particular subpoenas were served at the end of the legislative term, thus reissuing them anew at the beginning of this new term would afford more time for respondents to realize compliance. The reality is that there are myriad ways to tie these disputes up in court. If every time a subpoena is issued by a special committee, a recipient can simply litigate its validity and enforcement until the General Assembly reconstitutes and then they have to start over, this would be an absurd result indeed. Not least because this would mean that if the need for a subpoena did not arise well towards the beginning of a term, the General Assembly would be forced to defer issuing said subpoena until the beginning of the next term in order to maximize their window of opportunity to enforce it. This could and would result in lost evidence, fading memories, and general inefficiency. Moreover, suppose the production of documents were ongoing during the transition from one term to the other. Would everyone simply have to start over? This court cannot in good conscience facilitate such a result. As such, petitioner's motion is denied. All right, y'all, so that's a big loss for Fani. Fani doesn't want to go talk to her legislature about the job she's doing for the people of her county. Just think about that, y'all. Think about that. Now, in other news, Fani Willis has also repeated her request for the Supreme Court of Georgia to nullify the ruling of the appeals court, which says, Fani, you and your team, y'all are off the Trump case.
Well, back here at home in a new court filing, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is renewing her request for the Georgia Supreme Court to review a lower court decision that disqualified her from the prosecution of President Donald Trump. 11 Alive Zach Merchant got a copy